Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the parotid gland part 1. Now first of all, this parotid gland over here, this is the parotid gland. It is the largest salivary gland of the human being body and it is mainly located just below the external acoustic meatus. This is the external acoustic meatus. So just below this there will be parotid gland. It is around 25 grams in weight and it is present in between the ramus of the mandible. Somewhere over here the mandible present, the jawbone and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle of the neck. So it is present in between these two, sternocleidomastoid and the mandible, and it also anteriorly overlaps the masseter muscle. This is the masseter muscle, the main muscle for mastication. So anteriorly it overlaps the masseter muscle, and whatever the skin will be present around this parotid gland or the skin covering the gland actually supplied by the greater auricular nerve C2 C3. Now the capsule of the parotid gland. Now the investing layer. Okay, we have studied about the investing layer in the deep cervical fascia of my video. Just go and check that out. In that the deep cervical fascia of the neck or the deep fascia of the neck or the fascia coli has the investing layer. Now as you can see, this investing layer, first of all this actually covers the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and then this investing layer actually divides into superficial layer and the deep layer. This is a superficial layer of the investing layer, right? And remember that this is actually supplied by the greater auricular nerve. As you can see, first of all, let's label this diagram. This is the skin, then this is the greater auricular nerve. The main nerve supplies the skin over the gland and also the investing layers also. This is the platysma, again a muscle, the muscle of the neck, and these are the nodes. And over here this is the parotid gland. This is the superficial layer or the parotidomasseteric fascia, okay, the superficial layer of the investing layer, and this is the deep layer of the investing layer. And this parotid gland is actually pierced by mainly these three things, that is the retromandibular vein, the facial nerve, and this external carotid artery pierces the stylomandibular ligament. We will talk about what is this. Now this superficial layer actually is connected to the zygomatic arch. This is zygomatic arch and connected to this. Okay, and the superficial lamina, the parotidomasseteric fascia, is thick and adherent to the gland over here, while the deep lamina, that means this, as you can see, this actually the deep lamina is thin and is attached to the styloid process, tympanic plate, and the mainly the posterior border and the angle of the ramus of the mandible. Just remember the ramus of the mandible, tympanic plate, and the styloid process. It is connected to three things, while over here only zygomatic arch. Now portion of the deep lamina only, this deep lamina portion of this actually extends between the styloid process and the mandible. Okay, just remember this deep lamina actually extends from the styloid process of the temporal bone and the mandible, and this thickened form of the deep lamina between the styloid process and the mandible is known as the stylomandibular ligament. As the name says, stylomandibular ligament, that means connected to the styloid process and the mandible. And this stylomandibular ligament actually is actually pierced by the external carotid artery, as you can see over here. External carotid artery. Over here, this is the internal carotid artery. So this stylomandibular ligament is pierced by external carotid artery. Now the main function of this stylomandibular ligament is that it actually separates the parotid gland and the submandibular salivary gland from each other, and it is pierced by this external carotid artery. External features of the parotid gland. Now as you can see over here, the parotid gland actually resembles like a three-sided pyramidal structure which is having four surfaces and three borders, and over here the apex actually facing towards downward and the base towards the upwards. Now the location, you may remember, it is present just below the external acoustic meatus, and over here the four surfaces are, first of all, this is the superior surface or the base. Superior surface or the base, this is the superior surface. This is the superficial surface or the lateral surface. This whole triangle, this whole is the superficial surface. Now towards the medial side there will be two surfaces more, that is anteromedial surface, this, and the posteromedial. I told you that this is a three-sided pyramidal structure. So this whole is the lateral surface, and this, only this part towards the inner side, middle side is the anteromedial, and this is the posteromedial. Okay, and the border which actually separates the anteromedial surface from the posteromedial surface is the medial border or the pharyngeal border, and the border that actually separates the anteromedial surface from the superficial surface or the lateral surface is the anterior border, and the border that actually separates the posteromedial surface from the superficial surface is the posterior border. So 4 surfaces, 3 borders, apex. Now first of all, the relation of the apex. Now over here the apex is over here, as you can see. Now, and this actually overlaps the posterior belly of the digastric muscle. Remember, posterior belly of digastric muscle, and also enters into the carotid triangle. Okay, carotid triangle is actually one of the 4 triangles from the anterior triangle of the neck, and it is actually made by sternocleidomastoid muscle, posterior belly of digastric, and the superior belly of the omohyoid. Right. Now, this apex, from this apex actually two main things emerges, that is 2 division of the retromandibular vein emerges and the cervical branch of facial nerve emerges. Remember, from this apex only 2 division of retromandibular vein and the cervical branch of facial nerve emerges. Now the superior surface was, this is the superior surface of the base, this just below the external acoustic meatus. So of course it will be having some kind of relation with the external acoustic meatus more. So first of all, it is mainly concave, as you can see, this concave, and of course related to the cartilaginous part of the external acoustic meatus. And of course, just remember, just imagine what things you can find over here, so you'll be able to remember the relation of this. So of course here will be the TMJ or the temporomandibular joint, and the posterior aspect of that. Okay, just remember this, imagine the things that can present over here, TMJ, right? And over here one nerve, that is the auriculotemporal nerve, and superior temporal vessel. Superior temporal artery is a branch of external carotid artery. So one nerve and vessel, auriculotemporal nerve and the superior temporal vessel, and TMJ and the external acoustic meatus. Now the superficial surface, this lateral surface is the superficial surface, and this surface is actually of course in the lateral side, so it will be having relations with the skin or the outer surface parts, right? So of course there will be skin, superficial fascia with the lymph node and the greater auricular nerve. If you remember, I told you the greater auricular nerve actually supplies the skin over the parotid gland, right? Of course there will be platysma. Platysma is the main muscle of the neck, and the superficial lamina or the parotidomesenteric fascia of the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. Okay, so just remember all the structure which are present up till the parotid gland. Okay, up till there is the skin, superficial fascia, then the platysma or greater auricular nerve, lymph node, and the superficial lamina of the investing layer are the relation of the superficial surface. Okay, now the anteromedial surface. Now if I will remove this parotid gland, okay, I will be able to see the anteromedial and the posteromedial surfaces. Now the anteromedial surface, just imagine that what structures can be present in the anteromedial surface. So there will be the ramus of the mandible. Okay, and for the perfect fitting and the accommodation of the this ramus of the mandible, there is a groove at the anteromedial surface of the parotid gland. So just remember that anteromedial surface has one groove for the ramus of the mandible. Now just imagine that the groove will be having 2 lips, outer lip and the inner lip, because groove of course have lips, right? So it is having mainly 2 lips, outer lip and the inner lip. Now just imagine what else can be present over here at this anteromedial surface. So there will be of course ramus of the mandible, masseter muscle for mastication, and the TMJ, temporomandibular joint, especially the capsule over here of it, and the medial pterygoid muscle. And I told you before that it is actually having 2 lips, outer lip and the inner lip. So outer lip of the groove transmit the branches of the facial nerve, and the inner lip the maxillary artery. So just remember, just imagine the things. Of course, ramus of the mandible, then the capsule of the TMJ, masseter muscle, medial pterygoid muscle, and the outer lip for the facial nerve and inner lip for the maxillary artery. Now posteromedial surface. Now remember that the posteromedial surface actually molds the styloid process and the measured process of the temporal bone. And so because of this molding of the posteromedial surface, it will be having relations with the structures attached to the styloid process and the mastoid process of the temporal bone, right? So just remember, for the mastoid process, now this posteromedial surface is actually having relation with the mastoid process and with the sternocleidomastoid and the posterior belly of digastric. Now also the styloid process and its related structures. And remember, very important thing for MCQs also and for one liner also, that from this posteromedial surface only external carotid artery and the facial nerve enters into the gland. Okay, from this surface only external carotid artery and the facial nerve enters into the gland. Now the anterior border. Now this anterior border, if you remember, I told you the anterior border actually separates the superficial surface and the anteromedial surface from each other. Okay, and actually extends from the anterior part or anterior border of the base to the apex. Now these all are the structures related to the or actually emerging from the anterior border. These are the petit duct, terminal branches of the some of the terminal branches of the facial nerve, that is zygomatic nerve, upper buccal, lower buccal, and the marginal mandibular. Most of the terminal branches of the facial nerve and the transverse facial artery. Now remember that there is one accessory parotid gland also, accessory parotid gland, which actually lies on the parotid duct on this border only. Now the medial border, or we can say the pharyngeal border. Okay, why it is known as pharyngeal border? Because it has only one relation, that is with the wall of the pharynx. And last is the posterior border. Now the posterior border is actually separates the posteromedial surface with the superficial surface. Now this border actually overlaps the sternocleidomastoid muscle, and it is having some relation with the posterior auricular branch of the facial nerve and the posterior auricular vessels. So this was the part 1 of the parotid gland. I can complete the whole parotid gland in a particular video because it is a huge topic. So this was my part 2 of the parotid gland also. Hope you understood well. Thank you so much.